Good morning. Me and my dental issue. Hang on a second. Actually, I want to do this first. Phew. I was taking a nice long walk today, and I look terrible. I really do. Nice long walk, and I found a really great place to write since I got chased out of a racetrack. For a 30-minute time limit that actually doesn't exist because they don't have a sign out in the front that says you have a 30-minute limit to hang out in front of a racetrack. Despite the fact they let a bunch of famous people hang out there. Now I wanted to give you guys some pointers here. They had some guy. There was some guy sitting at the racetrack, and he was reading it. He looked a lot like Jonathan Frakes, but a very young one, right? And the cops started buzzing my house and buzzing my house and buzzing my house. I'm like, oh, apparently somebody's trying to call me. So I went and because a lot of times the cops like to go to racetrack and start to insult me. So I'm like, well, maybe there's somebody in the racetrack that wanted to see me. So I went to racetrack after I had this issue with this cop helicopter that kept buzzing over the house. And there was this guy that looked like Jonathan Frakes reading a book, just casually. And then afterwards, they started kicking me out from the place, in the front of the place, because I like to hang out there in front of the gas station and just for like a couple hours sometimes just sit and relax. And apparently, they're not gung ho about that. So I'm not gung ho about them. Now, in the past, I've come in here into my room, and my room has smelled like nitrile gloves. And I figured out that, because my family here apparently has been cooperating with the local cocaine dealing cops. Now, what they ended up doing is, I don't know if you can see that. See that going on there? That's not a rash. Hang on, there's another one there. It should be really much more visible. There it is. You see that? Yeah. They went ahead and infected my pants, as in literally. Yeah, it sounds kind of ridiculous to generate that kind of suggestion, but as I was arriving today, after having found a nice spot that I can write at, excuse me, there it is, cop car was driving away. Now, I remember trying to open up a dialogue with Prince, who had his Facebook account all hacked and whatnot, and I remember he died of AIDS, and Michael Jackson started having vitiligo. Now, that's a skin-related issue, and it's very possible that something similar like this could have been done to him while he wasn't home, that he might have had his items searched by police, and they generated a dermal attack, because this is a dermal attack, obviously. And they would come up with the excuse of checking the lining of the pants in order to check for drugs, and they're actually infecting people, and they might have killed Prince with AIDS. And I had opened a dialogue as well. Well, not even a dialogue, it was just a one-way conversation with Robin Williams, and he ended up dying shortly thereafter as well. And they claimed it as suicide, and I doubt very seriously it was. This is not a joke. Now, today's attack is my final guffaw on the cops. If you guys recall, we've had this series of deaths going on with the Bush family and the Lee family, and a couple of other people as well. Seems like the foundations of America's entertainment industry, as well as many of our philosophies, because Prince was, one of the radical movements in regards to, interracial relationships, as well as all he wanted to do was for people to love each other. And these people are driving around saying kill and kill and kill and whatnot. That's not just a philosophy. That is literally a terrorist group, and it's not to kill terrorists. It's to kill everybody. So going back to, let's see, let me get my feet up here. Oh yeah. Anyway, we got Prince going on here, and then of course we have these murders that are going on. Now, I posted on my Facebook page several times that Levangie Hill was stating that they wanted to kill Steven Spielberg. They repeated this. This was over in 2010, 2011, something like that. And I stated repeatedly that they were attempting very, very, very voraciously to kill Steven Spielberg, and they were trying to kind of get me to do that for them. And then the cops started on this whole bit of trying to give me the life of my dreams, which has turned into this. I am now giving the cops the life of my dreams. They were very, very viciously chasing the murders of Steven Spielberg and the murder of Steven Spielberg. And they were going off about Steven and whatnot. And there were several references that I wasn't aware of before to the cartoon of Doctor Strange, believe it or not, which I found kind of fascinating. Anyway, they apparently had been working on something, and I'm not quite sure what, but at some point in time, I remember very distinctly Levangie Hill and Charles Hill stating that they had Robert Downey Jr. Like, okay, what, did they kidnap him, or do they have a clone, or what? And I remember seeing Robert Downey just kind of driving around in the area. And I was like, okay, that was no big deal, because I had seen like Selma Hayek and a whole slew of other people that were doing the same thing. And then I ran into this radio broadcast of a court case in Osceola County. I think it was in Osceola County, where they had the bailiff's name was Jarvis. I was like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting after seeing Robert, driving around, which was kind of bizarre as it is. Like, what the hell is this all about? And Levangie and her friends, they're Ku Klux Klan, as well as a bond with Aryan nations within the scope of cocaine and drugs and whatnot. It's a very simple relationship that they had going on here. And weed, lots of weed, because when you have cocaine, you have weed going on. Marijuana. So one industry does not exist without the other, and the cops were viciously supporting these particular individuals' trade because they were involved with it as well. I mean, they're also involved in speeding and speed racing, which is why they removed the cameras from the corner of Colonial and Forsyth to actually generate income from racing in the area, literally. And they're making money off of it. These people were even taking down street lights with their racing. The impacts were so strong, and I think it's a kill zone for these people that they're targeting, such as Steven Spielberg. And so let's go ahead and let's take it a little bit forward here to where we have Samuel L. Jackson hanging out in the area too. And there's a couple things I'm skipping over here. Maybe I should start writing this stuff down because I'm doing this on the fly, and it's quite a bit of information that I have to man here. I don't even know how the heck the president does it, but he pulls this stuff off like it's nobody's business. Maybe I have too much information, sir. You'd probably be agreeing with me right now. Yeah, manning quite a bit of information. Anyway, yeah, all right. We have the home break-in. Yeah, checking home. And home control, and of course, offering the life of our dreams, which is to murder these people. And we have the Steven issue. So here's go ahead and Steven. All right. So let's go ahead and step back a little bit within the bush. And of course, my bugged funny part there. Anyway, right. Just to understand how these people operate, literally. All right. Vesta Hill, several years ago, ended up marrying an individual who was actually an illegal immigrant from Germany, whose last name was Bush, and she was stating later on that they were members of the Bush family. Now, these were pretty good con artists. They were trying to get money from they were trying to sue McDonald's for having worms in their burgers, trying to see if they can get some cash off of that. These particular two women that were of interest were looking for ways to con people in order, actually lawsuits and whatnot, and may have actually been responsible for the murders of their own husbands in order to get life insurance and maintain their homes, or they faked their husbands' deaths, which I wouldn't doubt. In order, literally, Vesta Hill and her husband and Migna Lou Scott, both husbands died of similar causes, and even Levangie Hill's husband died of Lou Gehrig's. And hang on here, yeah. Gehrig's, LG Fund. Anyway, no, yeah. They had been vehemently chasing these murders here. And I find it kind of interesting that, the cops were really gung-ho. Oh, yes, of course. That's Graves. And math. All right. And a judge that says kill. I mean, this just goes on and on and on and on. This is kind of a Cliff Notes version of the last 10 years or so. Anyway, they married into the Bush family. And of course, kind of sort of they're saying, oh yeah, the members of the Bush family. No, they weren't. And there's this whole issue of going on with that now we've got. I find it suspect, to say the least, to have Samuel L. Jackson, having sitting there and breaking my freaking glass door window, which is bizarre as it is, really bizarre stuff. And I don't think they need promotion. I know that a lot of these actors actually do come here due to Full Sail, and they can get some low budget gig or whatnot. They're guaranteed getting into something as opposed to having to fight through Hollywood in order to get another gig, and they can keep the resume refreshed, or they're just meeting people or doing whatever the hell it is that they do. If they're doing drugs, well, that's the cops' business. I'm not getting involved in that. If I run into it, I report it, but I don't sit there and actively seek that crap out because it's really dangerous stuff. Anyway, So, yeah, we've got that going on. And it seems like with the arrival of these people here and the bond that's been generated, we lose the Bush family. Or at least we lose the Bush elders. And then we lose the Lee elders, the Stan Lee and Joan Lee and whatnot elders in the same time frame that these people were chasing these Stevens. And one of the interesting aspects with the Doctor Strange connection here, you can have a laugh about this till the cows come home. No, this is not scalping. If you scalp to this, just the individual who attempts to scalp to this or make a profit off of this, shoot them. Just waste the mofo, because this is really serious. This is a really serious situation. One of the individuals up in the court, his name was Stephen S. Graves. Now, there's I was mentioning on my RM Digs page about a particular cover for a cartoon cover for that had Doctor Strange and working with Clea and whatnot, pulling some guy out of a grave. And this guy seemed to have a lot of the stuff going on. He was trying to be Jewish. In fact, at one point in time, I believe I ran into this dude wearing like a chiffon lilac dress type attire at a bus stop. And I was like, wow, you think he's trying to be a rabbi or something? That's no rabbi. That is just not a rabbi. I'm sorry. And he was wearing powder blue and whatnot and trying to make it seem, like he's an evil little dude. And then the people he's attempting to represent are bad people. Literally, during the entire conversation. I mean, the guy even stated that Albert Einstein should have been Baker acted as well. And when I was put into court, of course, Judge Jennifer M. Davis and State Attorney Jeffrey Ashton were sitting there bowing their heads as if they were in church saying, kill people. And they were threatening me to kill me. So I gained my intel that way through solid pain. And literally, through a lot of pain. They put me through quite a bit of pain. So we got that going on there. That goes out the window. We understand that later on that I gave you the recordings in regards to the conversations with public defender Stephen S. Graves, who is also apparently a member of this little group here, which otherwise they wouldn't be operating at all, including the police, who told me to do the math. I did do the math. I live in the United States. I'm a citizen. I've seen thousands of Americans die in the hands of terrorists. You can sit there and run around butt naked saying I'm crazy or stupid, and I'm going to sit there and take a picture of you and post it on the internet. So, anyway, yeah, right. And now going back to Stan and Steve Ditko, of course, the two hot men, the two hotties of Marvel. Totally gorgeous, by the way. I love the publications. Been enjoying that thoroughly. Been really, really pissed. Fantastic emotional roller coaster ride. Enjoyed it completely and utterly. Fantastic. Really, 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 really needed a date there, which is common for cartoonies, especially for nerds. It's good to be a nerd, though. You actually know stuff that other people don't, even if they think they do. So, no, I enjoyed that a lot, and it was just with the whole thing between Stephen S. Graves, note the name Stephen S. right? Public defender Stephen S. Graves, who actually backed up Levangie Hill and the Ku Klux Klan here. And then you have, they were trying to kill Steven Spielberg. I'm so not kidding here. All right, so we have the Steven Spielberg reference here, right? And of course, then we have the death of Stanley, and I think Steve Ditko, but I didn't catch the year on that guy, and Joan Lee, within a short time frame of each other. And after I'm seeing all this stuff going on here, it seems like there's a visual connection that's going on that doesn't exist in the digital domain, from the looks of it. And I had I had given some of these guys some tips in regards to helping them with a problem that they were having, and some experience that I had with these people, and some of the stuff they like to dish out in order to hurt people. And I had found treatments for stuff that doctors weren't actually supplying, and I finally found the correct combination. But now I'm being loaded with freaking cellulitis from Afghanistan due to the fact that our military base is physically overrun by murderers. But beyond that, I had also made when I was back in the military, I broke bread with the Jewish community. Now, the reason I did that was partially because I was bored. And second of all, I mentioned this I think 10 times already, to where I wanted to know why the hell they were so hated. It's a scientific, it's a logical approach. I mean, it sounds kind of grotesque, but I'm a scientist. I'm a researcher by default. My core value is scientific research, except for when it comes to God. I don't need to prove God exists. I have proof of that every single day, just as being a scientist, because the fact that we exist as a species is nearly impossible, literally. So there's definitely a higher force keeping this that allowed us to come into existence, because there's no way in hell, man. Anyway, I made this pact with the Jewish community, and I tried to go ahead and kind of back it up. My family members kept getting murdered. Like my cousin came in from Cuba, and 4 years later, the dude dies of Lou Gehrig's, and he was swollen up like a balloon. And then I had another cousin die. So I had to kind of break it off with these guys. I don't hate you. I don't hate you at all. It's just I'm not going to sit there and let you walk on my back when you need me. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I had also contacted a lot of people actually with my chamfer design first, see if I can get a job that way, and no can do. And I haven't been able to get a job at all due to the police and their need for me to become a terrorist in order for them to make their money, which would mean I'd be funding Al Qaeda terrorist groups with $25 million, which I cannot afford to give them. So I can't do anything terrorist, and I can't, under the laws of God, commit suicide either. So I'm kind of in a stalemate with myself and with heaven and earth here, which is kind of nice. I've been learning a lot in the process. It's kind of bleh. Anyway, so there's that. And it's kind of interesting, I haven't even been able to get a date. I haven't been able to go out with a guy or anything. I mean, most people look at me and they see dollar signs in regards to how much they can get out of my death, and they don't sit there and see dollar signs how they can get out of my staying alive and supporting my existence as a human being. And find it far more interesting to go ahead and take my commentary or my statements and apply it to their own lives as if it is their own statements or their own words or their own work, and leave me to die. Such is the case with was it the Saga Awards, when I sat there and I supplied this the schematic for a chamfer device that I was starting. Of course, it was pretty lame, and I needed a critique when it wasn't supplied, because everybody just wants to see everybody dead, and it seems to me that I'm worth more dead than I am alive. In which case, all of you, each individual, is worth $25 million to me, and you are worth more to me due to just your big mouths and your terrible attitudes towards your fellow human being. $25 million a piece, including the department, which is 450 men and women who are each worth $25 million at this juncture, based on this information I'm currently providing you. It would be nice to meet people who see me as the opposite, but they had this particular guy who had his wife up on stage and was sitting there defining herself as me. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe this guy wants to be friends, right? This group of individuals actually wants to communicate. No, not really. They just wanted to go ahead and make some money. And I contacted these individuals several times with a mocking, echoing laugh coming as a response. Absolutely nothing came out of it. And I ended up sending them several life-saving pieces of equipment for which they've pretty much been how can I put it this way, violently aggressive towards me, and due to having sent them the information, as opposed to any value that they have towards humanity, including but not limited to charitable work that any of these Hollywood types have actually claimed that they've been doing is all entirely based on falsehood in order to actually murder people and replace them with individuals whom they've made agreements with in order to sustain their positions as a higher tax bracket in the wealth within Hollywood or wealth within the United States, or agreements in order to to stay alive, I guess. Maybe they've got a gun to their head. I mean, they are high-profile individuals, and I love these people's work a lot. I'm a storyteller. I'm a storyteller. I've always been a storyteller, and I enjoy the art of the expression of the story. And some of these people that I'm complaining about are really, really good at what they do. And it's a really horrible shame that they're such vile, evil people doing this kind of thing. They're really, really good at what they do. It's just painful, but you can sit there and have a great sniper sit there and that shoots at a shooting range, and if they go and they snipe somebody in a bus from a Washington Bridge or something for some building or some car in Washington, I mean, you can say, this person is really good, but they're still killing somebody that makes them, a deadly killer. And it's the same is true for these Hollywood types. I mean, I actually fell in love with one of these guys for their courage, and it turns out this is a vile animal. So to hell with these guys, right? Anyway, yeah. So that would be it. And yeah, and I fell in love with the military too, which turned out to be another vile animal, but we're not getting into that. And yeah, that would be it. And nobody's bought me a hot dog as of yet, and I've got no credibility whatsoever in regards to my scientific discovery about Pangea. I would love very much so to be have the lecturing, students either at a university or at elementary school or whatnot. At least gaining some ground in regards to my discovery and doing something with it, as opposed to sitting here and aging slowly and losing every aspect of my life and any of the God's gifts that were given to me. I mean, just to give you a heads up on something, I don't see people. I was institutionalized at Florida Hospital Behavioral Health, where I ran into people who had no legs or were missing limbs, and I don't see these people out on the road. I don't see them in stores. I don't see them in parks, or I don't see everybody's whole, which means that these people are violently either attacked when they're in public for not looking like an Aryan, literally, or they just refuse to go out and about. Anyway, this is quite the Vietnam out here, but at least we've got more of a lifeline. We got more of a time frame when we go out there than 14 seconds, that's for sure. Anyway, yeah, and I keep running. I ran into this guy last night up at Racetrack, who knew everything about me, and he started rattling off this information about racing pigeons and whatnot, and then he started rattling off other information. Like, where is this guy getting this information from? Apparently, it's from one of the cops in the area that actually has a tap all over my house in order to steal my intellectual property and make his $25 million to feed Al Qaeda with, literally. And the guy had the gall to sit there and tell me, oh yeah, we are on a date. I'm like, we are so not on a date. I'm not dating one of these I'm not dating somebody who taps my freaking house in order to make money. You're not going to force me to do anything, man, you little rapist son of a... Anyway, he thought he was all that, and he was sitting there saying he was from New York, and that he came to Florida recently, and the guy's skin was pretty how can I put it, leathery from sun exposure. I'm like, there's not that much sunlight in New York. Um, so I'm thinking this guy was lying like crazy. I was waiting to see if I could smell sand on him, and I couldn't. So it's a constant attack, but little by little, bit by bit. And so you have your Stephen attack here with the KKK, and you have the funny joke, of course, that this individual who came and approached me with the kitty joke, bug issue, along with Bush. The next door neighbor married into Bush, and apparently they went around bugging women's private parts and then keeping women from having a job or a relationship, and basically cybering the entire time while you're mocking us, including the President of the United States, who was here, by the way. Thank you, sir. If you're still alive, God bless you for staying the hell alive. But man, I still want to kick your butt really bad. Um, and I really needed a job so I can get my dental fixed, and as well as be able to publish my journals. But you guys work more for the Ku Klux Klan and Aryan nations than you actually do for the citizens of the United States. And since I've given you all this information, that military base should be on closer lockdown than it was prior to me opening my big mouth. If some point in time you're in need of confiscating all of these military personnel's equipment, and I mean all of it, and putting it somewhere to where they cannot access it, and evacuate any areas where these people are at that they're not supposed to be at, because there are no military operations here in Orlando except for terrorist operations, which is not counter-terrorist. I am a counter-terrorist. I have been a counter-terrorist for 18 years, and I have suffered nothing but pain and horror and suffering and loss for the past 18 years, and I deserve more than what's been given to me. And I think the rest of the country deserves more than just a small wall that needs to be enlarged. If it means that these cops all over the country get $28,000, which would be a bonus for the people of the United States who have suffered horribly under the tyranny of terrorist police due to the compromise of our minute military bases, as well as the country being under attack, it would be a wise decision to cut their paychecks in half in order to begin the process of securing the United States and confiscating all equipment that could be deemed used as weapons of mass destruction against the citizens of the United States. All of them. Later on, I'll go ahead and I'll give a briefing in regards to how this bug net, based on my experience scope, which I wanted to go ahead and get the correct information from unfortunately, a bunch of actors who actually spend their days talking to just about everybody and dealing with just about everybody under the rainbow, from saints to sinners, and they would probably have more information that they can't provide, unlike myself, who doesn't give a crap whether or not I'm shot, but usually I don't get shot, which is kind of nice. Maybe God still loves me somewhere, more than likely. Somebody out there probably knows that more than I do. And that would be it. Peace and love. My name is Beatrice Rodriguez. Use the phone.